Hello, everyone. Hope that you are doing well and that this latest installment of Creative Writing finds you all in good spirits, good health, um, and I hope you guys are fighting off any bouts of stir craziness that this might be bringing up for all of us. Um, but today, I have a different style of writing I want to talk about, and I am particularly inspired today. I'm feeling like I had a lot to write about, and I ran out of time this morning, but I will share with you what I was able to come up with. So today, I would love to talk about a style of writing that does not get a whole lot of celebration thrown at it because I think the style of writing is very, very personal. And the style of writing I would like to focus on today is called journaling, or you could think of it as working your way through diary posts or that kind of a thing. So I want to share with you guys what I have been doing to keep myself busy while I am at home, respecting the stay-at-home orders. I have been honestly, I've been thinking a lot about what it is that we're all doing and the ways that we will eventually get back to normal. And I've had so many conflicting thoughts, you guys. I am learning in these times, perhaps more than any other times, that having conflicting feelings about things is quite natural, and it doesn't mean that either feeling is wrong. So I will use myself as an example in saying that I have been very anxious and very uncertain about the ways that we are going to get back to normal. And I have been really feeling that anxiety myself. But also, at the same exact time, I am counting my lucky stars to know that I have a lot of support within my family, and I have a lot of support from the government right now, trying to help all of us get by and get through this whole thing. And those are things that I have to be very grateful for. And while they're not exactly opposites, they do conflict sometimes within myself. And I think I'm learning right now to give myself permission to be okay with conflicting feelings right now, and that it is completely fine to be feeling perhaps pleased that you have a lot of time on your hands sometimes, and also super bored and just feeling like, what else am I going to do in my house right now? So I am trying to learn through my journaling to give myself permission to just live with whatever conflicting feelings I might be feeling, and give them both their proper space in myself. And so that's what I've been writing a lot with myself. And really, that's what journaling is. Are the notes that you don't typically write them to be shared. They are the notes that you write for yourself. So in that spirit, it's going to be a little bit weird to share my morning journaling with you guys. But like I said, I was particularly inspired today. And I want to share a little bit something from my personal life that happened this morning. that I think is a really, really, really beautiful and lovely thing amidst all of this craziness that's going on in the world. Um, I received a package in the mail this morning. Nice to know the mail still works. And I immediately knew who the package was from without opening it, because I recognized the handwriting on the front of the package. It was my mother's handwriting. And I think that many of us probably know the moment that you see your mother or father's handwriting sometimes is just immediate, like, oh yeah, that's mom's handwriting. That must be from mom, or that's dad's handwriting. It must be from dad, or whatever. So I received a package, and in that package, my mother had sent to me a copy of. My mom is a teacher. She's a college professor. Freshly retired college professor, but she has taught for many years in the communication department at Penn State. And my mom has been working on a project I learned today since 2016. So for about 4 years, she has been working on publishing a piece of work that she is on a topic that she is really, really passionate about. And so I am going to share with you guys the reveal of my mother's book that just got published this month. It is an academic work, so you're probably not going to find this on the any bestseller lists on Amazon or anything like that. But I was reading over her introduction today, which does a great job of talking about the bigger ideas that she's going to discuss in her book on a very, very simple level. And it really inspired me, and so I wanted to share with you guys. But without further ado, this is my mother's new book that she has been working on, like I said, since 2016, although the bulk of it she wrote last year over the summer. And the title of the book is up here, Recovering the Voice in Our Techno-Social World. That's honestly was meant to be her subtitle. And the subtitle now is what she intended to be the title, On the Phone. And her use of the word phone is very different than what most of us might be thinking. She is not talking about our telephones that we call each other on, although that topic is very much brought up and addressed throughout the book. But her use of the word phone is going all the way back to the Greeks. And the Greek translation of the word phone is the voice. And so the whole book is about our voices and how we share them in this new world. And there's my mom's name. She is Dr. Deborah Eicher Cat. And I could not be more thrilled to have received this morning amidst everything and to start reading. My parents' work is always really difficult for me to get through because, like I said, it's very academic, and we're talking about like the upper levels of college academics. So it's difficult sometimes to work my way through what my parents have written. But I really appreciated the subject that my mother decided to choose for her latest publication. And I'm really proud of my mom because she's been working on it for so long, and she finally has been able to share it with those that she loves very, very much. So when I received that, I sat down and I started reading, and then I started getting inspired about today's class. And I was thinking about creative writing, and I was thinking about journaling because I've been doing a lot of journaling over the last week. And like I said, journaling really doesn't have to be shared with anyone. If you are reluctant about sharing your writing, maybe journaling is the right writing style for you. Because journaling is really no more than getting your thoughts down on a piece of paper so that you can kind of reflect on what you're thinking about. And I really think that the style of journaling that I do is probably a little close to a stream of consciousness kind of style. I normally, when I start writing in a journal, the moment that I start writing, I try to just keep writing whatever pops into my head. And sometimes, you guys, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's okay. It's not really meant to be read by anyone else. It's really meant for me to get my thoughts out somewhere. That is very important for all of us to do right now. I think we're all carrying around a lot of thoughts inside. And we don't know what to do with those thoughts because none of us get to do a whole lot right now. And so I think that this might be somewhat therapeutic for any of you who would like to jump on board and join me for a little bit of journaling today or tomorrow or next week sometime. Feel free to use these videos and these little classes that we are trying to share with you guys whenever in your schedule that works best for you. Okay, we all understand there's a lot going on every day for everyone. And if you can't be with me during a live video, I hope that you get a chance to go back and look at some of these videos that many of the staff have taken a lot of effort to make and share with you guys, and that you get to enjoy them on your own time. I think is a really cool part of this tool that we have, being our YouTube channel. Anyway, so all back to my talk about journaling before I share with you all my little piece of journaling that I did today. I wanted to also to invite you to take as many tries at it as you need. You know, sometimes when I sit down to journal, I think that I'm ready to journal and I think I'm ready to get my thoughts out on the page. And then I sit there and I can't even get the first, thought out of my head onto a piece of paper. And that, for me, shows me it's not the right time. And so timing is important. When you are ready, I hope that you find some time for yourself and are willing to take a little bit of a risk and do a little bit of journaling for yourselves. It's a really, really great way to just get your thoughts out, and also to be able to reflect on your own thoughts. It's like you're talking to yourself in a strange way. When you journal and you just kind of free write and write down anything that's going on in your head, and then put it away for a moment. Take a minute or two, or a full day, or whatever, and then come back to it. And when you come back to it, it's very, very interesting to see, what was I thinking about that day? Or what was I bothered about? Or what was I happy about? Or what was, did I find a little bit annoying? Or what put just a pure smile on my face? There are wonderful, wonderful reasons to reflect on one's thoughts. And I hope that you all will take a shot at it. So now to discuss what I've prepared for you guys today. I have a very small portable journal that I carry around with me most days. Some days I forget to. But in this, I find this particularly useful in that it's very small and that it can fit into most pockets. And it's kind of my little secret journal that I keep with me. And but you don't need a special journal to be journaling. Okay, all you need is a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and you can start your journal. And sometimes it's fun to do journaling on random scraps of paper, because that can start to get you to think in different ways, maybe. Instead of this little book, here I'll flip to a spot where I don't have anything written. This little book has lines on it, okay, that can help you write. But also, I have discovered that it is really, really fun to kind of break the rules. You know me, I'm a rule breaker, you guys. And so I thought it was kind of fun to break the rules and write on this in a different way. So normally this is like this with the lines going across, and I decided I'm gonna write a different way just because I thought it would be fun. So all right, today's journaling piece I would like to share with you guys. So like I said, journaling isn't necessarily meant to be shared. So I was definitely thinking about that when I was writing my journal in my journal today. So I was thinking about sharing with you all while I was writing. So this was a very different type of journaling entry for me, because it's one that I knew would be shared. And from that first moment of realizing, oh yeah, I'm gonna share this today, it very much changed the way that my journaling entry came out today. And I think for the better, probably. Instead of just getting wrapped up in my own head, my own thoughts, and not worrying about sharing them with anyone, I had to think a little bit more about what I was saying and the ways that I wanted to say it, to also be able to share with you guys and hopefully inspire some of you to want to write your own journal entries. So before I share this, I just want to review where my inspiration came from today so that you might find your own. Okay. So my inspiration came from a random a package arriving on my door and unfolding to find a book and thinking about that book, and some of the questions that the book poses. But other ways that you can journal, and that I have been doing this week, are sometimes it's really fun if you can remember right away, when you first wake up, to try to write down any dreams you may have had. Okay, dream journaling, as it's called, can be really, really fun, you guys. So there's one way of journaling on your own, finding some of your own inspiration. Another thing is to think about something that is your favorite something, okay? Like your favorite actor or actress, or your favorite food, or your favorite color. Whatever something is that is your favorite something, it normally means that you feel really passionately about it, and that is a good thing to try to write about. Okay, so you could try to write down a dream that you just had. You could talk about something that is your favorite something, and just write for as long as you can about that favorite something and why it is your favorite something. Other things you can do is just focus on a tiny little moment from your day or from yesterday. It doesn't have to be right there in the moment. And just describe it. It's actually really, really fun to think about, okay, what was that moment? Oh, yeah, yesterday I was in my backyard and I made myself a lemonade. And I was sitting in the sun and drinking my lemonade and thinking how cool this lemonade was tasting. But then also realizing sitting in the sun for too long, especially in Chico, California, you can get pretty hot and sweaty pretty quick. And so just the other day, I was drinking lemonade and sweating. And I thought, wow, this is pretty silly. I should find a seat in the shade somewhere and enjoy my tasty cold beverage without sweating in the sunlight. So, if you want to take a moment like that from your lives and write all of the little details, what were you wearing? What was what was the objects that were around you? What was the weather like? What were the smells? What were the sights? Remember those who, what, when, where, why. All of those question words are great questions to ask yourself when you are writing and you're trying to get into the details of what it is that you are writing. Um, so, or maybe you watch something that is particularly inspiring in the way that this book's arrival was inspiring for me today. Maybe you watch one of your favorite shows or movies and you think, oh man, I want to write a journal entry about that character or about that scene or about the conflict that they are struggling with in that show or that film. That also can be a great place to start. And keep in mind that you don't have to share your journal entries with anybody. They can be your own secret little thoughts, which is kind of nice, um, and um, and also therapeutic in a way. So anyway, I think I've done introduced it enough. The idea for today. I really hope that some of you take me up on this offer and this little challenge for you all, and try to do some journaling over this next week. It is really fun. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to read you guys my initial thoughts that I had after receiving my mom's new book. And I decided to title my journal entry. I don't typically do that, but today, since my journal entry was very much inspired by an event, I decided to title my journal entry "The Arrival of Mother's Book." My mother's book arrived in the mail today, so I quickly unpacked it and read her inscription to me, found on the cover page. Heartfelt and personal, just like Mom always is. And then began to read the introduction. As I had suspected, she very carefully lays out the premise in a manner that most can actually understand, much appreciated by the layman. That would be myself. For an academic work, she tries to boil it down and succeeds in simply framing the book's main question. And here in my journal entry, I decided to use quotation because I took out a specific 2 sentences from my mother's introduction in her book. And she states, this is the book's main question. How do we find a healthy balance between our new mediated forms of electronic connectivity dominating our cultural scene and the traditional modes of interaction and conversation provided by face-to-face transactions? So that's the question. How do we find that balance, basically, between electronic forms of communication and connection and face-to-face communication and interaction? And then she goes on to say, given that the very social fabric of our lives is rapidly being rewoven on digital looms of our own making, I think such a question is timely. I particularly enjoyed that sentence because there's quite a bit of poetry going on there, and I think I recognize where my writing strengths have probably come from and originated with my mother's love for the written word. So that is the full quotation from the little introduction that I read this morning that really got my gears turning. Okay, so I'll return back to reading my my journal entry to you. Where is that balance? That's what I have been searching for. I am certainly guilty of leaning into my technological world too much sometimes, and at the same time, I am also guilty of withdrawing from it too much as well. It feels like a tightrope walk. If I lean too much to either side, I could easily fall. And in these times, we are all connecting at an incredible rate electronically with this immeasurable tool we all have at our disposal. And now more than ever, I think it's important to think about the balance between face-to-face communication, which is very challenging to accomplish in these times, and electronic messages that we all send to each other. So that completes my journal entry for today. That's where I left off. I have a lot more to write about that particular topic, but that will have to come for another session, perhaps later today or maybe another day. And that's another thing I want to offer to all of you. So I hope that my little journal entry might have got you thinking, maybe got you a little bit inspired in some way to think about the ways in which we communicate. My mother is a communication professor, and she studies the theories of communication. So she has a very, very specific aim in asking that question, and the entire book, of which there are many, many chapters and pages for me to read, are all about investigating that essential question. And I think what's really cool, because I know my mother's philosophy about this question quite well, I found it interesting that her goal in this book was to talk about the balance and not to talk about we need one more than the other. But it's actually the overlapping and the bringing of those two things together that is really interesting to her. We all end up communicating in all sorts of different ways. And I think it's really, really interesting to think about the ways that we communicate with others. And I hope that this little topic that I decided to bring up today might be interesting food for thought for you all, and might even generate a few discussions going on in your homes, or maybe just in your heads. And if you are having some interesting thoughts, might be a good time to grab a piece of paper and a pen and jot down some of those thoughts for yourself. You don't even have to share them with me, you guys, because that's what journaling is all about. Opening up a dialogue with yourselves is a really, really important and a wonderful thing to do. So I hope that you all enjoyed our little creative writing afternoon together. I hope that you all are well. I hope that you all are happy and safe, and that you're all staying at home and helping us flatten this curve. And I just want you all to know that we are going to get back to normal sooner than later. It's still going to take time. There's going to be lots more information to share with you all as we learn more. But we will find our way back to normal together. Okay. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. And I hope that this video brings you some joy. Okay. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, y'all. I'll see you again tomorrow.